The night before Captain Ibrahim Traoré became president, someone tried to kill him. The city of Ouagadougou, midnight silence. Welcome to the Voice of Presidential Files, where leadership is not built in marble halls, but forged in betrayal's fire. If you believe in courage, loyalty, and the rise of those who lead with heart, hit subscribe now. Like the video. Share the truth. This is the story they never wanted you to hear. The air over Ouagadougou was thick with anticipation. Crowds gathered in silent clusters, candles in hand, murmuring not just for celebration, but for survival. In less than 12 hours, Ibrahim Traoré, a soldier in his 30s, was to be sworn in as the transitional president of Burkina Faso. He hadn't climbed through politics. He'd clawed his way from the battlefield, forged by ambushes and betrayal. And that's exactly why some people didn't want him to reach that stage alive. At a wooden table lit by a single kerosene lamp, Ibrahim sat. His uniform was plain. His sidearm rested beside a hand-drawn map, 3 old war notebooks open before him. Names. Trust. Betrayal. One list was blank, reserved for the unknown. Opposite him sat Salafou, an old friend and communications officer from the 10th Regiment. "You don't have to stay here," Salafou said. "The High Council offered you full presidential protection." Ibrahim didn't look up. His voice was calm. "Protection? From the same people I spent 2 years fighting in the north." He leaned forward, eyes sharp. "I don't need a convoy. I need clarity." Salafou didn't argue. He knew Ibrahim feared not bullets, but complacency. At 2:14 a.m. The power cut. Not a flicker, a clean, surgical blackout. No streetlights. No radios. No hum. Only silence. Ibrahim whispered, "Get down." Salafou froze, then dropped. Ibrahim flipped the table, crouched low, weapon drawn. Seconds passed. Then, movement. A shadow by the window. Another. Silent steps. Rubber-soled boots. They didn't come with tanks. They came like ghosts, precise, trained, invisible. The door burst inward, not with noise, but with practiced force. 2 masked men entered. Infrared rifles. Trained eyes. They expected a sleeping man. They found a soldier ready for war. One intruder turned toward the bedroom. Crack. A single shot. Neck. He dropped, soundless. The second man spun, fired. The wall exploded. Ibrahim rolled, returned fire, shoulder hit. The attacker stumbled but stayed up. "A pro." From the kitchen, Salafou shouted, "No bullets. But I've got a flare." "Do it." Whoosh. A red flare tore into the night sky, like a scream. Gunfire erupted 2 blocks away. Confusion. Return fire. But this was no simple hit squad. The second attacker pressed a beacon on his vest. Shortwave GPS. It meant one thing: backup. An extraction team. They weren't here to kill Ibrahim. They were here to erase him. Engines buzzed, not loud trucks, but tight, efficient bikes cutting through alleys. Black-clad riders. No headlights. No mercy. Ibrahim crouched in the hallway, a shallow gash bleeding down his arm, not from bullets but splinters. He scanned the frame of the door, sensing what was coming next. It wasn't fear he felt. It was certainty, that same clarity he'd felt when a roadside bomb exploded 10 feet from him, and he had known where the second blast would be. These weren't mercenaries. This was an execution squad. The first wave had failed. Now came escalation. He didn't hesitate. He locked eyes with Salafou and said 2 words. "We move." They slipped out the back just as 2 more assassins dropped from the rooftop. Too late. Ibrahim and Salafou ran barefoot through the alleys, breath steaming in the dawn air, bleeding, hunted, but not broken. They didn't run toward the palace. They ran into the heart of the city's forgotten places, tin roof mazes and charcoal corridors where only children and spirits walked freely. Because Ibrahim knew, if they'd gone toward power, they'd already be dead. And the city knew him, not from satellite maps, but memory. Drought relief. Anti-militia raids. Midnight visits to his mother's old neighborhood. His history became his shield. In a courtyard of drying cassava, a teenage boy spotted them. Wordless, he nodded, then vanished into the dark. 30 seconds later, the neighborhood lit up, doors slamming, radios crackling, buckets overturned. The old code. Hide. Move. Protect. Ibrahim ducked behind a stall, bleeding, thinking. He snapped his emergency SIM in two and handed Salafu a wristwatch with a blinking green dot. If I fall, get this to Hell Lima. Sector 9. She'll know what to do. Salafu wanted to protest, but then he saw the look in Ibrahim's eyes. The same look from 2020, when Ibrahim ordered a withdrawal under fire to save civilians, even if it cost him men he loved. That wasn't surrender. It was sacrifice. They reached a drainage tunnel behind an old school. Ibrahim had trained recruits there once, long ago. They slid down into the dark. Above them, boots echoed on steel. Then, Ibrahim's second gamble. He activated a decoy transmitter sewn into his collar and tossed it into a different shaft. 3 seconds later, the attackers split. One team chased the signal. The other circled west. And for the first time that night, Ibrahim smiled, not from triumph, but relief. Every second bought was a breath the country still had with him alive. They emerged beneath a mosque, lit only by candles and prayer smoke. There stood Imam Dabo, scarred, aged, armed. He had once hidden Ibrahim's mother during the 2016 riots. He said nothing. Just handed Ibrahim a cloak, a forged ID, and a phone with no SIM. "They think you're dead," the old man said. "Don't disappoint them yet." Ibrahim nodded, limped into the prayer hall. No one asked why he was bleeding. They offered him water and silence. And there, kneeling beside a marble pillar, he finally spoke, not to Salafu, not to Dabo, but to himself. If this is what they do before the oath, imagine what they'll do after. Survival wasn't enough. He had to return. Not as a man, but as a message. As the mosque emptied, Ibrahim moved, not toward the palace, but toward an old rail yard depot, long condemned, now guarded only by rust and stray dogs. But the conspirators didn't know. He had turned it into a listening post months ago, manned by 3 loyalists who owed him not favors, but futures. They handed him a folder, EMB FX72. Names. Transfers. GPS logs. Bank wires. Calls from foreign consulates to encrypted receivers in the capital. This wasn't just betrayal. This was international coordination, foreign intelligence. $200,000 wired to a Segal account linked to a known French contractor. Ibrahim stared at the final page and whispered, "Release it." The loyalist hesitated. "If we go public now, the council may block your swearing in." Ibrahim turned, voice low. "Then let the people decide if the truth is political." And they did. They triggered the dead drop. 20 whistleblowers. Dozens of journalists. Civic groups across Africa. Untraceable. Irreversible. And as the documents scattered like embers through cyberspace, the palace still slept, unaware that the man they thought dead was already writing their downfall. Hartsu. October 2022. The heart of West Africa trembles. Tanks roll through the capital. Gunfire rattles the dusty streets. A new name begins to echo across the region. Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Dark screen with slow fade-in text. The voice of Ibrahim Traoré, the coup that shook the Sahel. 4 months, The people of Burkina Faso had been drowning in fear, terrorist attacks, lawlessness, and broken promises. The government of Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba, once hailed as a savior after ousting President Traoré, was now seen as another puppet, incapable or perhaps unwilling to act. Clashes in the street, civilians running, soldiers watching silently. Disillusionment turned into whispers. Whispers turned into plans. And plans turned into a coup. In the shadows, a young artillery officer, barely 34, was preparing to rewrite history. Calm, calculating, and unknown to many, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Traoré leading troops in the Sahel, commanding respect, refusing luxury. To his comrades, he was a man of action. A soldier who ate with his men, bled with them, and spoke of a Burkina Faso free from corruption and fear. October 1st, midnight. Inside a dimly lit barrack in Ouagadougou, the final plan was whispered among trusted allies. Phones were switched off. Radios silenced. The operation had one goal: remove Damiba without plunging the nation into chaos. At dawn, the sky turned red. Gunshots cracked across the city. The junta moved with precision, seizing strategic points, state TV, key military bases, the presidential palace. But something unexpected happened. Damiba vanished. Flash images of social media rumors, chaos, confusion. The confusion, a voice echoed through state television. Traoré in military uniform, calm but firm, addressing the nation. Burkina Faso is facing an existential threat. We can no longer wait. We act today, so that tomorrow our people may live. The voice was firm. The message, unmistakable: the country had a new leader. Damiba, believed to be in hiding within a French military base, was accused of betrayal. Citizens stormed the streets, targeting French installations, suspecting foreign interference. Traoré gave an ultimatum: Damiba must resign, or face the people's wrath. Damiba folded. Within hours, he was flown out of the country. No blood trial. No final speech. His chapter ended in silence. The streets were calm, but the air buzzed with a new energy. Some called Traoré a liberator. Others, a threat to stability. One thing was certain: the game had changed. Faso had entered a new era. But at what cost? And who exactly was the man now holding the reins? This is just the beginning. The voice that silenced guns may soon echo across the entire Sahel.